Hello, everyone. I am Sarah Leese. I am the National A&D Rep here in Atlanta, Georgia. I am so excited for you all to join us for our fourth and final Workshop Wednesday in this series. We felt it would be most appropriate to capstone it with a vision for 2021, as I know we are all very excited to say goodbye to 2020. We are honored to have our vision board coach here, Joyce Schwartz. She is a best-selling author of the Vision Board book. So she's literally written the book on this and has been featured on Business Insider, E! Entertainment, PBS, NPR, and the Today Show. And that's just a little. She's so modest. She's also worked with the Hollywood community and hundreds of celebrities in her days. And we are so honored to have her here. Miss Joyce, I'm going to pass it over to you, but I want to encourage everyone who is watching and listening to chat in any questions. She loves to discuss vision boards from big picture all the way down to minute details if you have specific questions about a vision board that you've actually executed and want to talk to her about it. So please utilize the chat feature. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it over to Joyce, who will just turn on your camera and unmute yourself. And I think you are being called Sarah Leese as well.
Okay, I think I'm unmuted.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Hi, how are you? I'm Joyce Schwartz, as Sarah had said. You can hear me, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Do you have your camera on?
We're opening this with a cave painting from Chavannes, France. Some of you may have seen the wonderful documentary of asked you to start your video. Okay, I don't know what that means, but whatever. Do I have to start my video? I don't know what that means. Okay, I guess that means later, whatever.
Yeah, click the start your video to make sure that we can see your lovely face.
Uh-oh, I didn't do that. Well, anyway, the Cave of Forgotten Dreams is a wonderful documentary about the first and early cave paintings and designs in Chavannes, France. The slide that you're seeing includes petroglyphs, and it includes actually a mandala on the right-hand side, cut off a little bit. But mandalas are as old as some of these cave paintings, obviously, that move forward in the world. Not quite as old, but I kind of put a little fun thing up there, older than the hills. And wanted to make sure that you understand that this is not something that is just a woo-woo kind of thing that came up with the New Age group. This is visioning has been done since the start of man, and possibly even with the Neanderthals. Because they're in the cave of Chavannes, France. You'll actually see, if you ever get a chance to go in, it's closed to the public, but maybe someday you'll get to go with an archaeologist. My husband's an archaeologist, so I hope that someday I'll be able to do that. And you'll actually see where they used to put the animal fat to use as candles and to go into the caves. And they did the visioning before they went out for their hunts, and before they moved. Obviously, they were nomadic and moved on with their animals. And so this is an idea of how they actually created their lives, simple lives perhaps, but lives where they were moving forward and beginning to humanize themselves, I guess one would say. And so I wanted to go back to this to get us that reminder that this is not something totally new. And many of you know this, of course. I'm talking to designers. How wonderful. You know, here to design your lives too. And many of you may design other people's lives and rooms and corporate structures, but you haven't designed your own life, or you continue to design it. It's a continuous process, just like a vision board is. I wanted to give this great quote from Carl Young, and who's done obviously a lot of work envisioning. We're going to hold off of that Hollywood picture yet, but we'll go ahead and get back to it in a minute. And the idea is whoever actually looks inside themselves is the one that will actually create their vision and create their lives. Looking outside is really important, but looking inside of yourself, the phrase self-awareness is very important. Now, if you've been watching, I happen to have a client in some of the new neurosystems that are being developed for sales and for design of websites and design of, well, even alternate reality and the virtual reality, which some of you are looking at, obviously, for fly-throughs, virtual fly-throughs for your designs, or for actually creating some of the experiences that you can have if you're doing public space design, which is really exciting now. I've worked in the high-tech area and was in the internet since 96. Well, actually, yeah, I guess it's 96, right? When the browser was developed, I was actually joining the internet. So I wanted to really talk about visioning, which is a cross between improv and a cross between soul searching and maybe a little bit of kind of exploring our lives. And so the whole concept of visioning is one that most people don't do before they make their vision board. We'll talk a little bit about Walt Disney later, because I call him the king of visioning. And he's got a wonderful story about how he started to create Walt Disney World. I wanted to just move on here. I've worked, as Sarah said, I've worked with, well, probably, I don't know, 100 celebrities. You can see some of them at my website if you want to look at it at jcombusinessdevelopment.com. You'll see some pictures, and I've got a blog at visionboard.info. And some of this high-tech stuff, you can see it's with Hollywood2020.com. But I wanted to show that obviously many of you know that vision boards became popular through the movie The Secret, and which was an independent film which was released and is made, I don't know, 20, 30, 50, $100 million at this point. I'd have to check what the actual figures are. But we're seeing Martha Beck, who is Oprah's life coach, and actually had tried to get Martha's, you'll love this as designers, vision board into my book. And the book, I don't know if we've got the video up or not now. Do we? Anybody know? Because I guess I'm talking to my own screen, so I'm not sure. But anyway, I tried to get Martha Beck's vision board to put in my book. I've got more than 100 vision boards. In fact, it was even nominated for a Pulitzer Prize because it was one of the first crowdsourced books. We had 900 vision boards come in from around the world, and I picked those that I thought really worked with some of the concept that I was creating and some of the work that I'd done in analyzing vision boards and working with experts in psychology and behavior therapy, and obviously in creating careers. And Martha's vision board came in, and the JPEG, she sent a JPEG, not a ping or not anything more sophisticated, and it was just a lousy picture. It was just all cloudy and whatever. And I thought, I can't put this in the book. HarperCollins actually published the book as a design book. It came from HarperCollins Design. And so, of course, I couldn't put that in. But it was a nice tribute to at least touch base with her. And here she is showing the vision board. And some of you remember that she had a number of the teachers from the movie The Secret, which is about the law of attraction. We're not going to talk too much about the law of attraction. Many of you know that. I have found, though, that the vision board really works really very conclusively with business. I've got some great statistics from Forbes magazine about vision boards, and I don't think they made this slide set. I had several slide sets, and I don't think it made this one. But they said that those people that used a vision board, we'll stay on this slide right now, vision board, were twice as likely, and of course this was done by TD Bank, which is a big bank specializing in small businesses, which probably most of us are, but some of you may actually have big businesses, and hopefully we'll all do that. But TD Bank found that those people that had vision boards, they surveyed 1,127 individuals and 500 small businesses. So it's a fairly nice sample. And those people that had vision boards for their businesses, they actually did about twice the realization of their achievements that other people did. And so there's some other very impressive statistics as to the use of vision boards. Many of you know, of course, that athletes do visualization. And we've got, actually, I work with an amateur, well, actually a pro-am golfer, and Terry Ganji, and we've done a lot of visualization with her. Up in the right-hand corner, the celebrity one, I'm going to blow it now, but it's Julia Mancuso, that's her name. The skier created this vision board, and Visa credit card actually included this in their ad. So it was kind of cool. The idea of actually not just doing visualization, and I say that the difference is visualization comes from the outside in. You're looking at that finish line. You're looking at the date of delivery for the client. The visioning, however, starts the whole process. And so it's not just on the top of the ski hill. It's actually when she's beginning to take a look at what races she's getting involved in, how much practice she needs to do, her health, of course, very important. So visioning spans a number of different elements. And so it's very important that you do a visioning session. And we'll talk a little bit more about that when we talk about Walt Disney. Some of you may see that we've got the Philadelphia show, and they had a vision board in that. They have also been vision boards in Two Broke Girls, and I would say about a dozen other TV shows. And as soon as I say that, there are many. Yeah, the one is Two Broke Girls was on the bottom. You can't see too much of it, unfortunately. But this is when they were envisioning having a pink cupcake business. So it's really cool to use a vision board for an anticipated business too. And so I call that a concept board. Now, some of you may be wondering, well, what about the vision board for my life? Now, you can go ahead and do a kitchen sink board, as I talk about, and that is where you put everything on the board. I do suggest you do your first vision board in paper and poster board. Now, many of you have done many vision boards, but I think it's important to get back to this. I know I caught a little bit of your seminar and workshop on sketching, and I know when I was actually doing the book, I got a hold of the designer for Oprah's store in Chicago, the first of her flagship stores. I think that may be the only one that came out, but there were going to be a number of them. And he said that actually he teaches at the Chicago Institute, and he said it was really important to get your hands dirty, to go ahead and get back to that, even though you may be doing other kinds of software, or you may have other kind of systems, or who knows, you maybe have a robot, I hope not, but you maybe have a robot designing for you or doing the final drawings or concept for you at this point, or you may be sending it out to a model maker. I know a lot of people are doing 3D models now too, but I do suggest that you start with the magazines, and you do start with, we'll talk about my suggested methods of doing it. I'll give you 2 recipes. I would appreciate if you don't share the recipes. They're kind of just for us. These are my secret sauces, and I like to keep it for my clients, and I like to share this so that you understand from talking to me, and somebody's not out there giving my recipe and giving it wrong or giving it half-baked, one might say. So we've got Julia Mancuso here. We've got Martha Beck. We've got, I can't think of the name of it. What is it? Something early in Philadelphia. It's kind of a pop culture cult TV show. And then we've got in the right-hand corner, Katy Perry. Now, what's interesting is Katy actually had to write a letter to herself when she was in the 4th grade, I believe it was, about where she was going in the future and what she was going to do. We all come up with something that 4th or 3rd grade teacher, I skipped 4th grade, so it was a 3rd grade teacher, came up, Mrs. Young came up for me and asked me to create what I wanted to do. Well, other than being a princess, which was still kind of in vogue then, and probably in vogue now if you can do something of charitable works with it. But Katy actually created the fact that she was going to be a best-selling singer, and she was going to be out with thousands of people. Her family did do some folk singing and some church singing, so it wasn't totally outrageous. But she found the letter later and was really pleased to share that with a lot of people. Her vision board here is about being number one. Some of you may know the story about Ellen over on the left side. Ellen had actually did a vision board so that she could be on the cover of Oprah magazine, and she did realize that, which is really pretty cool. I've got a lot of great stories whose vision boards do come true. And one of them that I heard recently was that in The Lion King, not a little girl from, I think it was Chicago, maybe it was Jacksonville, Florida. She had wanted to be the child star in the next child star in Lion King. Obviously, it was already on a run. And so she studied, and she got her mom to send her to tap and to ballet and to jazz. And about 6 months later, she got a call. She had told so many people about it that, you tell one person and I guess 13 tell more. And she ended up on the Broadway stage. So really cool. Experience was when I was 13 years old. I had been selling magazines door to door. Not very glamorous, but I'll tell you, it paid very well. I'm 13. I'm saying I'm 14 to get the work permit, of course. Shh. Anyway, and I got bit by a dog, and I've been making, I don't know, a couple $100 a week, which way back then was really good. And so I sat on my parents' patio back in Ohio. And I decided what I was going to do with my life, because everybody said, well, you're going to be a teacher, you're going to be a nurse, you're going to be a flight attendant, you're going to have your own business, which was starting to become a little trendy then. And I said, no, I'm going to work for a magazine. My mother got one magazine only. And that was a magazine you may remember, your grandma may have gotten, called McCall's Magazine. I was thrilled to get an internship at McCall's Magazine with the editor, Jim Fix. And some of you may, if you're runners, may recognize his name. He wrote the definitive book on running and then got a bunch of Hollywood options on it, but nothing happened, which is always the way, or sometimes the way in Hollywood. But anyway, I decided I'd work for the magazine. I kept telling everybody this through high school. I worked at my high school newspaper. And in college, I went to Ohio University undergraduate in Athens, Ohio. Some of you may know it. It's a great journalism and also design school. And someone walked up to me, a gal from Philadelphia, very streetwise, more streetwise than I was at the time, and said, Joyce, here's your opportunity. And I took a poster off of the board from the journalism school and said, gave an opportunity to be one of 13 interns across the United States to work for a magazine. So I picked McCall's. I gave them my story of telling this 13-year-old who had envisioned working there. I did get McCall's. I also got Reader's Digest, which some would think would be a yawn, but it really wasn't. I was in Chappaqua, New York, which any of you know is just absolutely lovely. They gave me my own office. Here I am, 19 years old, my own office. And guess what? I had a choice of real art. I chose a Chagall to put on the wall. The family, of course, that owns Reader's Digest has an amazing art collection. So you never know where your vision board's going to take you. I think we'll go to the next slide now. Okay, this is a wonderful client of mine who lives in Montana, and he didn't want a traditional vision board. One of us, someone may understand, I know Sarah's got her board in her house and other people have them in their offices, but some people are a little bit more quiet and want to not share their vision board with everyone. And I say share it with those people that you're safe with. Kind of like take care of yourself, kind of like the oxygen thing on your airplane. Take care of yourself first and then, begin to share it. I actually share it with someone like, say, my barista at Starbucks. He knows me, but he doesn't know every single thing about me. He doesn't know what my financial situation, he doesn't know that I came back to Ohio to take care of family, that we're sick, all of the kind of rah-rah kind of challenges that I was facing at one point. And so he actually created this too. And Tom created this. If you look at, that is a circle of paper clips creating a gratitude circle, the symbol for gratitude. He actually has a picture of his family that he wants to go back to. I think it was either Russia or Poland. Maybe somebody can understand that one better than me, that he'd like to trace his roots back. He has some coins there indicating money that could multiply. He has a small Buddha. He has a picture of him, and I believe it's his daughter. He also has another place that he'd like to attend. He has another Buddha, and I think he has a ticket over there for a trip. So it's a really fascinating way. You can go off the board. You don't have to use the vision board. Just once again, you do the first one with paper and with magazines, or you can use Google Images, or you can go ahead and use images on some, people probably have SCADs and copyright-free images available to you, so you can use those. Someone also asked me, and it's a good point to bring up, can you use images that are used in someone else? Actually, I checked with a copyright lawyer, intellectual property lawyer in Hollywood, and he said you could, as long as it's altered and doesn't look like the original picture. Many of you may know that from making collage, or actually blowing up pictures to put in a client's living room or dining room or office or whatever. As long as you change the image, if you're going ahead and just using the same image. I've got a couple at the end that I got from iStock Photo, and I don't know what was the other one, but I have left the imprint on there because I didn't buy the image, but I'm using it just for private purposes. If I was going to share this publicly on the internet, I would not use that image. I would go ahead and buy the picture, or I would go to, as many of you know, Pixabay or Pexels, P-E-X-E-L-S, have thousands of free images. I actually got involved in the last month in working with Canva, C-A-N-V-A, many of you know that. And I actually worked with Magisto, which is the video maker. And some of you may use many other video makers, and I like that one. Sophisticated in terms of the designs. The templates are a little whatever, but you can go ahead and create what you want. Obviously create your own template or have someone, or you design it yourself. You guys are great designers. Anyway, let's go on to our next one. Next slide, please. Okay, wanted to show you that once again, a vision board doesn't have to just be pictures. It doesn't have to just be cut and paste. Some of you may know this. These are the two owners of Wattpad, W-I-T-T-P-A-D. And if you're a designer, you're probably using Wattpad. It's a great way to get your own account, promote your services. Obviously using Behance too, B-E-H-A-N-C-E, and other portfolio systems. I'll tell you, I get a lot of work off of LinkedIn. I get all of my clients on LinkedIn. Designers don't get too thrilled about LinkedIn, but I think it's really important, and to post some of your own private pictures and to continue to sketch, whether you have sketchbooks or whether you're doing some sort of, mad books or some sort of cartoons or some experimental drawings. If you're not getting into augmented reality or virtual reality, I would suggest that you ask for the holidays, Christmas if you celebrate that, or Hanukkah, get some sort of virtual reality system. This is going to be our life. This is going to be the way you design and the way you create images for the future. I saw a wonderful one that just launched in Japan this last week, where you actually create a house. It's not like Sims, S-I-M-S, which is a game. This one, you create the houses. You could have a Malibu house, you could have a box kind of house, you could have colonial, and then you actually create the furniture to go in, and you don't just pull it down. But I do find that was great. Actually, the National Office Furniture Company has a wonderful simulation program, and I was taking one of those chairs off of there to put in the vision board that I created, which didn't make this slide either, but we will talk a little bit more about that. So the Wattpad people have what is really a vision board, and there is an opportunity to create content with depth and confidence to write, let people write with comportable. I think they might mean I don't know, comfortable, whatever. We're going to let it go with them. That's their gig. So that was kind of fun to find that. Facebook has one of these, and so does Google. Great big giant walls. That's a whole nother seminar I could probably do on public spaces and corporations that have designs they're now doing, or wall decorating, or wall visions, as you might say. I had an opportunity, well, one of my family members was in a hospital, to go to one of the hospitals in Cleveland. I think it may have been Cleveland Clinic, and they had a beautiful board up which talked about one of the things that you were concerned about today and what you were grateful for. And so you put one of your concerns up and you wrote one of your gratitudes, one of the things you're grateful for. And I thought it was a wonderful opportunity to engage the public. They had an erasable board, and a lot of people were doing it. They put it right over by the cafeteria. And so it was kind of fun to see people interact with that board. Obviously, you can have interactive boards too. We have worked with YWCA, YMCA, with chambers of commerce, with groups to create visions for their corporations and visions for their nonprofits. And so it's a wonderful experience. If you want to do something like that as a designer, you're always welcome, I'm sure, to work with a nonprofit. Plenty of opportunities online. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, we're going to share one of my private recipes here about actually what do you do before you're ready to do the vision board. And this is what I feel that is part of the visioning process. You want to really start with gratitude. I'm going to read this slide and then we'll go into each one individually and talk a little bit about it more. I call it grabs because your life is up for grabs, right? So we're talking about G for gratitude, R for releasing all those past patterns. And as I said, I'm working with a scientist in the neuroscience behavior now on a new project, and it's getting very exciting. If you haven't seen what's happening lately, Google search maybe once a week for brain, and you'll find out there are lots of information coming about how emotion is now tied to hormones and to other chemicals in our body, and even the reaction of color, of course. I teach a course called the Vision Card Reader, and we talk about myth and Native American myths, the East Indian myths. We talk about mythology of Star Course. We've got one of the consultants that work on Star Wars, sorry. I used to teach a course called Star Course, that's fitting, Star Wars. And so the idea of using myth and to actually release, and some of us do this when we go to the movies, right? We kind of lay back and release ourselves, and we do what? We suspend the disbelief. And so the idea of releasing that, and then we go ahead and we're ready to receive. Okay, if you know the law of attraction, it's ask, believe, and receive. But I believe there's much more to it. You're not like writing a note to UPS or to a check to, I don't know, Coach handbags.com. I don't think that's the right one, but to get that latest Coach bag. Sure, you could manifest it that way. You just write yourself a check. But what you want to do is to create those things in your life that are not just things. Create a lifestyle for yourself. A lifestyle, we've got several of our clients, and I've got actually my husband's cousin creates a lifestyle, which is a multimillionaire lifestyle. He takes a cruise several times a year, and 60 years old, he just met the woman of his dreams. He's never been married previously. He got married to a Southern belle who happens to have a nice equity position in a number of firms, but also was certainly a charmer, and they fit so well together. So you never give up. Your dreams can come true at any age. So the idea of releasing and being ready to receive. I tell the story to my Hollywood folks, just looking at time here, that when they come to town to go over to the Grauman's Chinese Theater, I think it's just called Grauman's Theater right now, in Hollywood, and some of you may know that's where you put the footsteps in to the concrete and you match your footsteps up. And several of my clients have gone over there at my bidding. And one of them was so excited, he came back and said, I got a free ticket to Jimmy Kimmel. And I go, that's great. And so he sat in the second row of Jimmy Kimmel. He actually went over there with a sports jacket and it's, I don't know what he had, his denims on, I guess, and a sports jacket though. And it looked pretty cool. And he was there waving at us. But one of the other gals went over and she hung out and she took pictures, which was kind of fun. And somebody walked up to her and said, would you like to audition for a part in a movie? She said, what? You mean an extra, right? She said, no, we're actually looking for a redhead like you. And we'd like to see if you'd like to be in our movie. Well, what kind of movie is it? And she said, well, it was an independent film. And within a matter of a week, my client was on the set of that film. She is just in from Philadelphia, has never acted before, but because she was out there, that's one of the things Disney talks about is get out of the house. I know with COVID, we can't do it, but you can certainly be online and be visible online. And so the idea of actually not sitting in your room or by yourself or curled up in a little ball because maybe things aren't going so well or some of those clients went away or you're waiting for the new year to start is start some sort of activity that showcases your work. And so that's the idea of being ready to receive. Let's go with the next slide and we'll talk about some of the other ones. So today, one of the things that I wanted to mention to you that goes along really well with the vision board. I know many of you probably done vision boards a number of times. All I'm asking is that you use my system if you can once and see how it works for you by starting with the visioning. Now, today I am grateful for, and most people find that having a gratitude journal is very rewarding. Keeping a regular journal, especially during COVID, can be really challenging. Well, today I did this, or I couldn't do that, or I wanted to do that, but they, had a shutdown here, or we have, a time that we have to close up, or we're not in the office, or whatever. That gets a little tedious. But having what you're grateful for maybe something else, grateful for your breath. And now with the neuroscience, we're finding that the breathing is really the correct way to breathe is one of the best things you can do for your body. We're not even talking about running. We're not even talking about aerobics. We're not talking about fancy machines. We're talking about just breathing right. And if you want to look about breathing, you can look some of it. It's called breath work. That's what it's actually called. Another thing that I do recommend to you during COVID is to do something called grounding. Some of you may have heard about this. It's really a fascinating subject, is that some of us are walking around barefoot in the house nowadays, but to actually see if you can get out into the sun if you've got sun, if not, into grass if you've got some in your backyard, hopefully before the snow comes if you're in the Midwest or in the East, and get out and walk into the grass. That supposedly creates a different kind of feeling for you. And that's what we're talking about, is identifying those feelings that make you feel good. And feelings are what makes you change your patterns. Because if you feel, well, this is not good, I am not progressing, I am feeling bad. Well, one of the things you want to do is take a look at, when did that feeling start? Not yesterday. It probably started when you were a kid. I'm not going to go into psychoanalysis here, but it's not, it just take all that to figure out, well, I get a little, on holiday weekends, I get a little sad. Well, why is it? Well, because there are a lot of people on holiday weekends came to my house, a lot of confusion, a lot of commotion, as one would say. And I really am kind of person that likes peace and quiet. So I make sure that if I have a holiday weekend, I have some time to myself. And so I'm grateful for that opportunity. I would say today, I'm grateful for the opportunity of working with National Office Furniture and I'm meeting you all virtually. I hope you're seeing the video. I'm not seeing my video, so I hope that you are. And so this is a wonderful way of taking a gratitude list and just putting the top 5 things that you're grateful for. Obviously, if you did acquire something new from Amazon or from Coach Purses. You can put that down too. But we're talking about some of the other things that are the essence of life. Grateful that someone's cooking you a wonderful dinner. Grateful that you're clean eating. Grateful that you're exercising today. Grateful that you can walk. You know, people go through all kinds of times in their life. And I've had a relative who had a stroke that couldn't walk, and coming back from that and starting all over. Wow. Grateful for that opportunity is what he said. So the idea of gratitude and gratefulness really comes into play. You could actually do a gratitude board. In my vision board book, I have someone who actually created a gratitude shadow box. It's a wonderful thing to do for Thanksgiving. You know, shadow boxes, of course, they have little holes, little containers in there, shelves. And you can pick one up at the thrift store. Well, I guess we're not going out much. You can certainly pick it up from Michael's online, and maybe even find a really cool one on eBay that's date back to the 1890s and maybe even early. Some of you may know these were called curiosity boxes, or you know, something like that. And some of the pin boards go back to the 1890s too, I was finding out. So it's kind of fun to see the derivation of those. But going back and creating your own gratitude for the holidays, even if you're by yourself, you know, obviously someone sends you a cool card in the mail. You suddenly going back through your memorabilia, putting up your Christmas tree, you find an ornament, maybe part of it broke. Well, go ahead, put that part in your shadow box, grateful for having it at one time and for the glint of it, or maybe it was a beautiful glass ornament from Germany that was handmade. You feel sad that it broke, but put it in there. It does, you know, what is that? I can't remember that wonderful phrase. I'm sure all your designers know from Japan, where they put broken parts together with gold and create something totally new out of it. In fact, obviously mosaics are a good example of that, taking broken pieces and putting them together again. So we're grateful for the opportunities that we have, but more so for the ones that we create. And that's what I'm talking about. Co-creating your life, your lifestyle with the universe, with your God, with your Buddha, with your Allah, whoever it is that, or yourself, if you truly feel that that's how you roll. So the idea of gratitude is very important. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, R is for receiving. I have a child here, and I did put money up because there's no reason that you can't have money on your vision board. Jack Canfield talks about the story when he hadn't made $100,000 yet. Now he's making multi-millions. He wrote the afterword for my book. I had hired him years ago for, what's it say? It's called something or another here. Someone's actually, there it is. Oh, Kinsey. Thank you very much. I knew somebody in the crowd would know that. It's a beautiful, if you haven't looking at, there are a number of websites for it, and there are kits that you can buy on Amazon to create. I had a beautiful vase from Italy, and it broke when I was moving, and I just threw it out, and now I wish that I'd kept it. And so it was beautiful, blown glass pink, and I could have done something with it. But, you know, we live and we learn, and that's why we want to share from each other. The idea of Jack Canfield put $100 bill on his ceiling so that he looked at it every night. And the idea of he created actually $100,000 bill. Sorry, I missed the punchline on that. He created $100,000 bill, put it in his ceiling, and at the end of the year, he didn't make the 100, he made 92,000, but darn close. Later, he created $1 million bill. I think you can find those online if you want. There's something else called the check from the universe, if you'd like to write yourself a check. And as some of you know, Jim Carrey did this. He actually wrote him a check for, I guess it was $10 million. And he did get that amount from one of his first films. And he carried the check with him in the wallet and showed a lot of people when he was out to breakfast in Beverly Hills. A lot of the comedians come together at a little deli over there. And so it was really great. John Dover, thank you very much. Hey, wow, I love this. This is crowdsourcing a speech. This is fabulous. Anyway, okay, and so the idea of looking at money. Now, obviously, you want to look at money as something as we're going to be able to do something for. It's the why. It's not the what. It is the why. Why do you want that? Why do you want the boat? What is the feeling that having a boat is going to create in your life? What is the feeling that having an old Corvette is going to create in your life? Will it create power for you, perhaps? Will that speed give you a sense of action? Will it move you forward? Or is this just some sort of a memorabilia collectible you're going to have sitting in the garage with the cover on it for the rest of your life? Which is fine too, but probably the idea is to get into action. A little girl here is children do this so much better than all of us. They're great at receiving and great at giving. I had some other wonderful little photos of kids sharing their food. There was a wonderful story about Halloween, if you haven't heard it. A cancer patient's mother and dad put a note on their door for Halloween saying, sorry, we can't have Halloween because our daughter is a cancer patient and we can't risk having the germs. They put this on. There were a number of children that came to the door anyway, just to see what the sign said. And they were from 6 to about 12 years old, fairly young. You know what they did? The first kid took his candy and put some of it on the front porch. The next kid came, I think it was a little girl, and she just dumped her whole bag there. The idea of actually giving and receiving. They felt that the cancer patient child was missing out on Halloween, and they were grateful for the opportunity to go. But at the end of the night, she had a pile of candy about a foot high. She was able to share with people at the hospital and the doctors, and it just gave tears to my eyes and to the parents too. So the idea of becoming a child again, you know, Walt Disney talks about this, so many people talk about it, looking at with child's eyes. And that's a wonderful way to live. Next slide, please. R is for also for release. The idea, we talked about that a little, releasing patterns, also releasing emotions. Some of you may do something like a pillow fight with yourself. You may go out and take a run. You may do yoga. You may just scream. You may go out and do some gardening. You may do some internal gardening with herb plants, something that releases you. My husband's always after this because when I am intense, I am laser focused, which a lot of you probably are too. And so it's really tough for me to break away to eat or break away to take a rest or to do something different. And so he just says, okay, put it down, put the computer down, laptop, phone. Okay, we're going to have something to eat. We're going to talk. We're going to chat. We're going to watch a movie. She's always showing these animal movies, which are good for my blood pressure, I understand, although my blood pressure is pretty good. Anyway, so the idea of releasing is really important, of having a planned release. During COVID, important that you take a break every hour or so. We think we're working from home. Oh, wow, it's just okay, we can do this, but we may have challenges with taking care of family or children, or even taking care of ourselves, obviously. And so important to take a break every hour or so and take an hour a day just for you if possible. Maybe tough if you have small children. You could do it when they're taking a nap. As long as you stay around and watch them, of course, or where you've got a baby monitor. And so having that time for yourself, whether it's a bubble bath or whether it's, once again, drawing or sketching or doing some sort of a notebook. I was going to include some of the famous authors, and Da Vinci, you know, of course, had wonderful sketches. And most of the artists and certainly all novelists have wonderful sketchbooks. Take a look at them online. Just go to Google and look at famous sketchbooks. I almost bought one recently on Amazon. I can't remember who it was, Virginia Woolf, maybe. I think it was about $250, and I should have got it then. Somebody later bought it for $2,000, but it was a buy it now, and then suddenly it went up and out of the buy it now when they realized what it was worth. So having something like that sometimes, of having a talisman, and a $250 sketchbook may not be the kind of talisman you normally think of, like a rabbit's foot, but having something like that is very important, because it really invigorates you to touch something visceral again. This idea of touch is so important, as we probably know. It really increases our sensitivity to life and our sensitivity to our creativity and to what's happening in ourselves chemically. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, in this GRABS, remember it's GRABS. How did I come up with this? Well, this is kind of fun. HarperCollins, I sold my book for a very nice fee. And I had a great agent in New York, and I had a lot of celebrities involved with the book already. And I'd already asked Bob Proctor, some of you may know, it's one of the outstanding business coaches, and Jack Canfield agreed to write the afterword ahead of time. And so HarperCollins, the editor there, and who I was pleased to work with directly, said to me, "What is your success formula?" And I went, success formula. We all have our individual success formulas. We all have formulas that work. I think I mentioned that when I got the internship in New York, Dina Merrow, who was the gal that took that poster, I'll never forget her name, of the wall, gave that to me. And I have found over and over, it's someone I know a little bit, maybe someone from my past, from grade school, high school, college, who crosses path with me again, or I'm back in touch with, actually got into USC graduate school and film that way. I was supposed to go to AFI to be in the film program for women. I went there and they were closed. So I stopped at the Bagel Nosh, some of you may know it, in Beverly Hills on the way home, because I just didn't want to go to the hotel by myself. So I got some orange juice, a little gluten problem there, so I didn't get the bagel. So I'm sitting there, and I had lived in Hawaii previously. I was all tan, and I'm carrying remember the days you kept the big portfolio with you? And I had videotapes still and CDs. And I bring all this in because, heaven forbid, I can't keep it in my trunk or in my car in Beverly Hills. It could be gone in a flash. There's my life gone. So I bring it all in, put it on the counter, and this elderly gentleman over there with a beard, I never did get his name. He said, "What's going on with you? You seem a little sad." And I said, "Well," I tell him my long story. Going to AFI, the place was closed. I had a letter, real old-fashioned letter that was sent to me in the mail. It said, you're going to be admitted to this women's directing program. And he said to me, "Well, what is it you really want to do?" "Well, I want to go to film school in graduate school." And he says, "Well, why?" Once again, that why is very, very important. And so I'm asking him here for the opportunity. And I said, "Well, if you know anyone, I just really want to do this. I really feel that the multimedia world is evolving. I've done writing. I've done producing film commercials. I've produced TV shows that are written up in the Wall Street Journal, and I've done magazine format. And so I really feel the next thing is to look at film as a medium, not necessarily to be a famous film star, a film director, producer, although I have mentioned several projects and a couple were on the way to being made. One was made. So I asked him, and he said, "Would you like to go to USC?" And I said, "Oh, I can't go to USC." Once again, many of us ourselves, "I can't go to USC." And he says, "Why not?" "Well, see, I didn't take science. I just took earth science and physics for the non-physics major. And I know they require," he said, "No, not in the film school." I said, "Okay, well, who are you going to call from here? What are you going to do?" And this is me. I was just starting, and he had one of those old brick phones. And he said, "I'm going to give you my phone to go ahead and call Dr. Reagan." And I said, "Who's that?" And he said, "It's him, head of the film writing program at USC." So I had a free phone, picked it up, called him. He picked up the phone. I said, "Hi, Joyce Schwartz here, just recently from Hawaii in Los Angeles, meeting with Bob over here." And Bob picks up the phone, talks to him a little bit. And Mr. Reagan, Dr. Reagan says, "Come on down." I don't even know LA very much. I used to come over on expense accounts and have cabs and, limo cars, or what do you call it, town cars. So I had a rental car, and I drove down the streets, the city streets, because I don't want to get on the freeway and get lost. I drove Wilshire over to USC, and it has a great punchline. I walk in with all the portfolio and all the junk I'm carrying. It's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He said, "Where'd you go to undergraduate?" And I said, "I went to Ohio University in Athens, Ohio. You probably never heard of it." He says, "I did. I got my PhD there." Well, here is, once again, many of us stop ourselves on the way to our vision. And I said, "No, you didn't." What I know more is that there aren't there were like only 50 people get a doctorate there. And he says, I have a doctorate in poetry from our university in Athens, Ohio. I said, wow. He said, so you're in. I said, what do you mean? I mean, you haven't looked at my portfolio. I haven't taken the GRE, graduate record exam. No, you're in. Go over to the office over there and pay your money for the first semester. And I'm going like, this is 1 hour of time. And I'm going like, if I don't go for it now, I get over to the office, of course, and what do I think? Well, with 20 or whatever I had to put down, I think 11, I could go to Europe. And the lady, I sell it to the lady, the cashier, and she says, you go to Europe, but you won't have a USC graduate degree. And I went, good point. So got to follow through on that ask. The other is to acknowledge yourself. How am I doing? Okay, time?
We're actually coming up on that. So if anyone needs to hop off, by all means, we will be.
Oh, wow, we are. Okay. I'll kind of hurry up a little bit here. Acknowledge yourself for what you have done, and then take the action, the inspired action. Let's go to the next one. We'll just cover the VIP a little bit. We covered this in terms of the grabs. The B is for believe, or I said before, suspend the disbelief like you do if you go in a movie theater. The next slide, please. Okay, S is for sharing with others and sharing with those people that are safe for you to share. Maybe someone that you don't know that well. Let's go on. Okay, Walt Disney, we talked about this. Oh, that's not a great slide. I'm sorry about that. V is for visioning, and Disney is king. Well, that comes when you buy a copyright and when you just pick up copyright or public domain pictures. He used to, once again, keep pictures of Disneyland on his ceiling. So very cool, the idea of visioning. And he said he started Disneyland because he took his 2 daughters out for a merry-go-round. And he said, what could I do that would be more fun than a merry-go-round? Well, I could create Disneyland. And he did, of course. Next one. I is for images. Obviously, we're showing some 3D images here, virtual reality images, all kinds of images. If you're looking at your magazines, look at them upside down. If you normally read women's magazines, pick up some motorcycle magazines, there's some car magazines, there's some boat magazines. Next one. I is for you. You should be in the center of your board. Either put a picture of yourself, an idealized picture or a picture where you're happy in the center of the board, or some of our clients put a little mirror in the center of the board. Very cool thing to do. Next one. Okay, purpose. If you haven't read or heard the graduation speech that Chadwick Boseman gave at Howard, you must do it. You must go to hear it tonight. It is just soul-searchingly wonderful. I'm not going to read this because you're going to hear it, and it's so much better than even just reading his poster. Next one. Power words. Okay, you've heard this, affirmations, power words. Very, very important is how you walk the talk and talk the walk. I mentioned stopping myself before. We use bad words for ourselves. We're, especially women, unfortunately, but men too. And especially if we've had a bad meeting with a client or we've had a project didn't go so well, we suddenly get shot down. The more creative you are, the more that this sometimes hurts. Next one, please. Okay, aha. If you don't want to do a vision board, you could always go over to Shutterfly or Shutterstock or iStock and pick up some, oh, wow, we can't see that in the center, can we? Okay, Happy New Year and Happy Visioning, and pick up some templates and do that if you wanted to. Obviously, you'd be cheating a bit, and I don't think you guys would want to, but I just wanted to show you that those were out there. Next slide, please. I try to avoid some of those cliches and memes that were out there about this was not on my vision board, and they use a word that's not quite comfortable for all of us. But I did like this one at the end. Dear 2021, please be kind. And this idea of kindness is really trendy right now, but at the same time, it really works. I'm going to take a few questions if some of you are willing to still hang on. I think we've got 7 minutes. Anybody have questions?
Thank you, Joyce. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Never thought about, the formula as you put it. I've just kind of just made my board and went with it.
That's fine. That's fine. And people that don't want to make a board, we talked about this a little bit ahead of time, is that one of the things you can do is come up with a defining image. Dr. Phil talks about having a defining moment, but having a defining image. A lot of people pick a word, but I like something that you can hold. Not the rabbit foot, but maybe that sketchbook, or maybe it's something you pick up on eBay, which is, we had some beautiful historic cups that were used by Jefferson, and we sold them, unfortunately, but I remember
We do have a question, Joyce. What was the letter and the word after the I image?
Oh, I is for images, and also for you. I equals you. Okay, I is for images, for having
And what was after that?
of images. And also we're having you in the center of the board, so you own your board, literally.
Yeah, I thought that was a good takeaway. Does the layout matter for the pictures? And
Interesting. Actually, I do some vision board analysis, and you're designers, you can do this yourself. If you have a lot of white space and maybe too much white space, you may think about, well, what do I need to fill my life up with, right? If you have hundreds of pictures, I recommend that you have 6 to 8 to 10 pictures, 15 at the most, because your eye can only, we're, screenagers. We were raised on MTV and Sesame Street. And so we can only watch so many things at once. I think we can watch 3 screens is what the limit is right now. So having a limited number of pictures is helpful.
Just some great comments. It's neat to hear about how the intentions that have helped successful, famous people, we all know how they achieve their goals. That was really some interesting insight.
Yeah, it's fascinating when you see, and I've got, in fact, you want to go over to Pinterest. A lot of people use Pinterest. I've got 435 celebrity vision boards over there. I was hoping to do a book, maybe I still will. It seems a little colloquial now, but you can just look under celebrity vision boards. It's Joyce Schwarz, Schwarz, no T.
I'll just be sending a follow-up email with your information.
Yeah, Joyce Schwarz, Schwarz at Gmail. My website that's relevant to this is visionboardinstitute.com. And I've got a blog with about 500-600 posts on there, a lot of podcasts, and that's at visionboard.info.
Wonderful. Well, that was fantastic. We really appreciate your time, Joyce.
Okay. If anybody has questions afterwards, they can send them to you, and I'm glad to
with you. Well, thank you again, everyone, for participating in our workshop Wednesdays. And please follow us to stay up to date at National Office Furniture and life.work, etc., both our other brand, etc., on all the socials to make sure you're staying up to date. And again, I hope everyone has a wonderful evening, and thank you for joining us.
Bye, thank you. Live your vision, please. Thank you.
Live your vision. Great word. Bye, everybody.
Okay, take care.
You too.